Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is Izik Rodriguez, who will fight on North Iowa Fights 23, July 25th. Hello, how are you?
Good, good. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for taking the invitation. And of course, I think that right now you are in the really good moment of your career because you started your amateur career. You are undefeated, and you will take another challenge. And if you can tell me how excited are you that you will fight for the another belt?
Yeah, I'm ecstatic. I'm very, very excited. This will be my first time going down to 145 pounds. So all my fights have been, or I guess all my title fights in MMA have been at lightweight. I do have one at 170, but that was my first ever MMA fight. So I'm excited to go down in weight for a new challenge, and win another belt at another weight division, become the first two-time champ in North Iowa Fights history.
And for now, how your weight cut is going?
It's going good. It's going really well. Yeah. We're on track. We're on pace to make weight. Everything's going good. My training's still doing well. I have energy to continue to be able to push myself every day in practice, but um, not too hard where I'm still able to manage injuries and stay healthy as well.
Because I think that overall you are quite a tall fighter, especially for the featherweight division.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was light, or excuse me, I was pretty tall for 155 pounds, and now at 145, I should be even taller. So, yeah, luckily, I was able to diet and get everything locked in. I've been really taking this camp extremely professionally, as we are anticipating that hopefully this will be the last amateur fight before going pro. So, I've approached it extremely professionally, and just trying to move forward as in the most professional manner as possible when it comes to managing my weight.
And I think that as the amateur, you can try this kind of things. So you fought in the welterweight, also lightweight, featherweight. So you can see how your body is doing, and then maybe as the pro, you will have more like information about your body. How do you feel? And then probably you will have a chance to decide what should be the best move for you.
Yeah, 100%. And I think also moving forward too, I don't think I'm going to be able to make 145 pounds for the entirety of my career. As I get older and as my body matures a little bit and my metabolism slows down, I do see myself moving up to 155 later in my professional career. So, like you said, it's nice to be able to adjust a little bit. Having the experience of fighting at that weight before in my amateur career, hopefully that makes it a smoother adjustment, a smoother transition once I turn professional and I do move up in that weight.
And this fight will be like five rounder. So the round will be 3 minutes, but it will be like five rounds.
Correct. Yep.
And how do you like this kind of like structure? Because in the end, it is like 15 minutes, but it's like a little bit different than in the pro fight.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be nice that this isn't my first title fight under my belt. I have both of my previous title fights went the not the distance, but made it to the fifth round. Um, so it's nice to be able to have the experience of fighting close to that 15 minutes, if not fighting the full 15 minutes before. Um, but yeah, it'll be very interesting once we do make the transition to professional. The minutes are, or excuse me, the rounds are 5 minutes, whether you like it or not. So there's no running. Those extra 2 minutes will definitely be an adjustment for us, but I think it'll be a smooth transition as we are already starting to experiment with some of those 5 minute rounds during this camp too.
And actually, you had this like fifth round finish, and I think that this is a like important thing because like in MMA, usually the finish is like first or sometimes second round, but if you can win a fight in like last rounds, so in this
Hmm.
case like fifth round is like super important because it means that you are like dangerous all the time. You don't have like really big problems with the cardio, and you can even in some ways break your opponent in the later part of the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it takes a lot of guts to be able to finish a fight in the fifth round. At that time, that's when you're most tired, you're the most fatigued, the closest to the end of the fight, right? So you're really close to getting out of there. And I think being able to get a finish in that fifth round really shows how much heart that you have and how far you're willing to push yourself in order to finish the fight. I think being able to, um, like I said, finish the fight, but also just constantly looking for that finish and getting out of there and being able to put your opponent away. That's what truly makes the most exciting fighters in the world, and that's what I want to be.
And your opponent will be Miguel Adams. As the amateur, do you spend like a lot of time in searching for the information about your opponent?
Yeah, I do personally. I do a good amount of research. I like to be as prepared as possible. So I just like to see how do they come out, what stance are they in, right? Do they shoot? Are they strong on top? Do they have good pressure? Their distance, how's their striking? So I definitely like seeing what they're good at and what they're not as good at. And then that way, maybe if we get put in certain positions, I'll know where I'll have the advantage at.
And do you think that he will can be like the threat for you in maybe some parts of the fight of the game?
Yeah, I believe he's got good grappling. Respect to him, he's taken all of his opponents down and beat them up, excluding one of his opponents. But other than that, he's shown great examples of his grappling and being able to control his opponents. So I think that's something that I've needed to work on in the past. From some of my previous fights, I think if he's done any of his research, he'll see his path to success, and that's really up to him to be able to try to put that on notice. But I'll do my job to make sure that doesn't happen.
And of course, like we don't know what's gonna happen in this fight, but when you are thinking about like a fight after this, so like probably like your pro debut, do you have maybe some like the timeline or the just the month that you would be like interested in fighting in?
Yeah. Next steps, as long as everything goes well, no injuries or anything like that, I'd like to get a quick turnaround for my pro debut, hopefully in the next couple months. We fight at the end of July. If I could fight September, October again, that'd be ideal.
And if we can talk a little bit about your beginnings in the combat sport, when you started your MMA journey, did you have any specific background before it, or like MMA was the first combat sport that you ever train?
Yeah, so I moved to Iowa at a young age. In about third grade, I started wrestling. I wrestled all throughout high school. Uh, and growing up. And then after that, I competed a little bit in jiu-jitsu, did a couple of jiu-jitsu tournaments, and then I got really tired of getting ankle locked and heel hooked. Um, and I said, hey, this isn't fair. If we were fighting, I'd punch you in the face. So I picked up striking. I started boxing after that, and then had a couple boxing fights and kickboxing matches. And then I decided it was probably time that I start putting everything together and start mixing it up. So that was when I had my first MMA fight a couple years ago.
And actually, like watching your fights, I think that you are like really good striker. It's probably
Thank you.
first thing that the fan can like notice. So it's interesting that you started from like a little bit different combat sport than just a striking one.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like there's some examples of that in the highest levels of MMA right now. People they start out really good at one thing, and then something else is so much more compelling, and they kind of decide to take that style for theirs. So yeah, I started with grappling. I felt like my grappling was really strong, but I find striking so much more entertaining and so much more flashy. So that's kind of what I lean towards. But I don't want people to forget that I still got that grappling in the back pocket.
Or maybe it would be better if they will forget.
Exactly, right.
And if you can tell me a little bit about your like team and maybe some prospects like you that you have there.
Yeah, we got some great teammates. over at Siege MMA. I got there's a lot of 145 pounders there, so I get to work with a lot of people my size. I have a teammate fighting on this card, Junior Camarillo. He will be fighting 2 fights before me. Also at 145 pounds, he's a really good wrestler. He was a collegiate athlete. He's got really great boxing over there, so he's been one of my main training partners for this camp. Um, Eli Spicy Wiener Jimenez, he's another good prospect. He's about to have his pro debut here at the end of the year as well. So we got a lot of phenomenal guys in there, some really good grapplers, and some really good strikers as well. And in my opinion, some of the best coaching in the country with Sonny Diaz and Kamuela Kirk over there being able to help us, put together the best team that we can. So Siege has been on a tear as far as the last couple months goes. We've, I think, combined for uh, 6 belts last year. So, hoping to just keep that momentum going, not only with myself, but as a team.
So it's probably like great to train under UFC veteran because it's like always this is probably like a kind of crazy knowledge because of course like overall experience but also the UFC experience because it's just a different feeling to be in the like UFC octagon.
Yes, absolutely. Whenever I have questions or anything like that, he's always the guy that I'm able to go to, and he's always a great person to be able to pick his mind. Like you said, he's got experience at the highest level, so being able to pick his brain in some of those areas is very beneficial for myself.
And from like your perspective, so the fighter's perspective, do you have maybe one, maybe few UFC fighters that you really like to watch and maybe pick something from their game to yours?
Yeah, I got three that are kind of off the top of my head. Carlos Prates for his striking is very entertaining. I also like Rafael Fiziev. Again, his striking is phenomenal. Both of those are just super entertaining Muay Thai backgrounds, and I love that. Right, it's super entertaining. They're flashy. They put together really pretty combinations, and then another fighter that I've always loved watching is Jose Aldo. I think, he's of course one of the greatest of all time, but I really enjoy watching him for his takedown defense, actually. Trying to combine my striking as well as not getting taken down. I feel like he's got some of the best takedown defense in the history of the sport. So, that's someone that I'd like to emulate and that side of things. And then the striking side, of course, like I said, Carlos Prates and Rafael Fiziev. It's hard to not want to strike like them.
Yes, and in the end, like Carlos is this kind of fighter that even that he lost like over a year ago to Ian Gary, he still
Mm,
could get a title shot because of course
yeah.
like his results, but the like the way of his fighting style, it's something unbelievable. And even in his last fight against Jack de la Maddalena, who is a
Hmm.
former champion, it was
Yeah.
it was just not a close fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
And outside of the fight games, so maybe when you are after the fight and you have a little bit more free time for other things, what do you like to do when you have just more free time?
Man, eating is one of my favorite things, especially in this camp. It's made me appreciate how much I like food, outside of training camp. I love sports, so really like year round I'm watching some type of sports. Right now I got the Spain France game on in the background, but football, I love watching football. Like I said, any sport really. I just like watching competition. I play a bunch of video games, relax. It's kind of my way to wind down a little bit. And then honestly, like I don't do a whole lot, man. I watch sports. I play video games, hang out with my dog and my fiance. We like going hiking and things like that. But other than that, not too much. I pretty much stick around the gym for the most part.
So when you like to eat, maybe your pro debut would be like in the welterweight division.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Yeah, if I could bulk up and be a big 155er or a big 170 pounder, man, I'd love that. But unfortunately, I don't have the best genes for filling out those weight classes.
Yes, and even like going from the lightweight to welterweight is 15 pounds, so it's actually quite a lot. And the fighters in the welterweight division, they are overall like really really big ones.
Huge. Yeah.
Okay, so many thanks for the time and for conversation. Of course, I hope that you will win this fight. You will become a double champion, and then later this year you also will make your pro debut.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you for the time today. What you're doing is great. And I think it's so awesome that you have the channel and the page that you do. So thank you for this interview today.